Welcome back to Sass with Cass. I just thought I'd let you know quickly if you listen to this before the 20th of July, we are currently having our 20% off sale, mid-year sale on modelsbycass.com, where there is 20% off both my books, Bully and Darling, and my 2 courses, the Goal Set course and of course Glow, my 14-day glow up. A lot of what I'm talking about in this episode is things that we cover in Glow, so you can actually have hands-on support. There's also a clinical psychologist in the course who walks through everything I talk about with you. So if you want somewhere practical to work through things like boundaries, self-confidence, how you speak about yourself, feeling sexy in your skin, that is all in Glow. So I thought I'd let you know. I'm not really one to do much promo, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Anyway, this is a really great episode. I'm gonna let you go ahead and get into it. Okay, bye. Welcome back to Sass with Cass. Hello, my loves. I hope you're doing well wherever you're tuning in from around the world. Today's episode is about the root cause of my acne. This is a conversation I have been dipping my toe into on Models by Cass. And I don't mean dipping my toe into acne because I've been talking a lot about acne, shared a lot of my acne journey on my socials and on the podcast before. But in terms of the root cause of my acne, it is kind of new territory. So I'm really excited to chat with you about it today. If you don't have acne and you've found your way to this podcast, there is a lot in this episode that is applicable to, I want to say honestly, nearly any health concern. So if you're listening to this and you do have acne, but you also have other health concerns like chronic fatigue, Lyme, chronic viruses, like any depression, I'm not kidding, kind of almost anything, there is quite a big lesson in this for you. So please share to any of your friends who are maybe going through this and need to hear this information. This really is not just applicable to acne. I'm going to be speaking predominantly about my acne, but when I tell you what the root cause of my acne was, please know that it actually relates to every single health concern I've had. And I've had woes and waves with my health almost my whole life. It's just something that I've kind of struggled with. But it's become one of my deepest blessings because it's how I've connected to myself more. So we're going to get all into this. As per always, I know you guys get this, but I'm obviously not a doctor. I'm obviously not trained. My advice doesn't supersede anything your doctors might be telling you. Please do not take this as biblical information, if you will. This is purely my story and my experience that I want to share with you because I know how much other creators I've followed who've shared this story, I know how profound it has been for my life, and I just hope that I can now use the platform and the voice that I have to share back what the creators before me did for me. And so I really, it's just my intention to help. This podcast is heavily inspired by a creator called Sami Clarke. If you don't know who Sami Clarke is, especially if you're going through your acne journey, please get to know her. Please deep dive her work. She did a podcast on this and it just made me want to open up and share my story. So yes, thank you, Sami. Sami is someone who really was a guiding light through my acne journey. She's one of the only people I've ever found online who spoke about acne like that, and she changed my life. So if you're going through acne, you don't know Sami, I'll link her videos and her podcast below because she's someone else who's a great creator to follow. So that's my 3.5 minute disclaimer. This conversation is going to be spiritual, it's going to be nuanced, it's going to be a bit woo-woo, it's going to be different to what you expect it to be, I think. So listen with an open mind and open heart, and I hope that something in here lands for you. Okay, so let's start, not from the beginning, but just to give you an outline of how bad my acne was. Originally, it hit me at the end of high school. it was year 12 and my skin just went insane. Like deep, big pustule acne. And at my school, we weren't allowed to wear makeup, and the teachers actually said to my parents, we're okay with Cassandra wearing makeup, because they felt so bad for me that my skin was so bad. It was the biggest confidence killer of all time. And so my mum and my parents did what any parent would do, is they took me to the dermatologist, they took me to the doctor, and I began every single form of Western medical acne treatment. I did 4 rounds of Accutane. At one point, I think I was on 60 or 80 milligrams of Accutane a day. If you've ever taken it, you know how strong that is. I've taken doxycycline, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, every antibiotic you can think of. I was put on the pill, and all those things basically masked the symptoms, and especially the Accutane, my acne eventually went away. And I will say, at that time, it was such a relief to experience the acne going away. And for those of you who are taking those things, or who have taken them, or those of you who will get prescribed those medications, there is absolutely a place for them, especially in the sense that you just get that experience of experiencing clear skin. So that is really, really like good and beautiful. And honestly, at that point in my life when I was 17 or 18, I needed that relief. But what happened, of course, those medications, and anyone who will know who's been on those medications, it was just a band-aid. It was taking away the physical symptom, but it wasn't dealing with anything at all underneath the surface. So I would go through life and my skin would get worse again, and then I would do a mini round of Accutane. So I would do like a 10 milligram like every second day, sometimes even 3 times a week, almost like an always-on approach to Accutane. That's what my dermatologist was putting me on. And it worked. Like I would only break out at my chin. I was just never the kid with perfect skin, but it wasn't bad. I didn't have horrific skin because I was on this sort of always on Accutane. And then it was about 2020 and my skin went insane. It was almost like I was 17 again. It was acne I'd never seen before. It was like tiny, like gravel. It literally looked like gravel from the tops of my ears all down my cheeks. My cheeks were really bad. My chin, my forehead was predominantly clear. It was just all my lower face. And nothing would make it budge. Nothing. And this is when I was an adult. I knew a lot about my body. I'd been, on more of a health journey. I wasn't 17 anymore. And I thought, okay, I am going to understand what is causing this. And so you do some research and you hear everybody talk about the internal. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. I proceeded to work with naturopaths. I proceeded to do every single diet or elimination protocol you can think of. Vegan, vegetarian, no gluten, no sugar, no alcohol, no dairy, liver detoxes, kidney detoxes. I was on one point up to about $500 worth of supplements, probiotics, everything, oh my God, everything you can think of. And nothing was working. Nothing was working. It was so persistent. And I remember sitting in the corner of my bedroom in my flat on the phone with my mum and sobbing to her because I'd been invited to a party and I was so embarrassed of my skin. I was so conscious of my skin. I would always put my hair forward to cover my cheeks. I would rest my face on my hand to cover my cheek. Every time I was speaking to someone, the only thing I could think of was, oh my God, are they looking at my skin? And it held me back from boys, from love, from dating. It is, and this is for anyone going through acne, It is the biggest confidence killer ever. And you know what's so crazy too is like when I talk to my friends or people from the past, they literally don't even remember my acne because nobody else is like looking at it. Like it's the biggest deal for you and like nobody else sees it, but that doesn't matter because I know how it feels. Like it is literally like having like bumps on your face, bro. It is just, it's not fun. It just feels absolutely awful. And yeah, like I remember booking modeling jobs and I would insist on doing my own makeup because I just couldn't bear anybody looking at my skin. It is like if you were there and you're at that place, like I just want to give you the biggest hug. Like I so get it. And the other thing is that my friends and my family were so helpless. Like if you haven't gone through acne, you just have no idea. And I remember my mum just being like, I just have no idea what to do. Like she was like, I would pay any amount of money for this to go away for you. Like I would pay $20,000 for someone to just make this go away because it is, nobody knows what to do. Like, and I would just be so depressed and so down on myself and oh my gosh, just the worst. So I had a turning point, and this is kind of where the bulk of what I've shared online sits. And the turning point is that I had my hormones tested and we found out that I had a severe hormone imbalance. So I was high estrogen, I was exceptionally low testosterone and progesterone, for anyone who's familiar, and it felt like an aha moment. It felt like, okay, this is making some fucking sense. Like my hormones are massively fucked, and hormones for women, if you have acne, like serious acne, 9 times out of 10, there's a hormonal problem. I then decided to have my IUD taken out. My IUD was adding to my hormone imbalance, and then I proceeded to do hormone balancing. The way I balanced my hormones is I took a supplement called DIM. DIM clears out excess estrogen. So I took DIM, and then for a while I also took a progesterone cream to lift my progesterone. I took that for a very short amount of time. It would have only been weeks maybe, because I did feel like it was flaring my skin and I didn't need it. For me, the IUD removal and taking DIM was so much better. So here's the thing. I remember when I had a hormone imbalance, naturally thinking to myself and going, I'm a really spiritual person. I'm a really connected person. I wonder if my hormonal imbalance is a sign that something else is out of balance. And I want to pause right here because this is the beginning of our conversation today. I sat there and I thought, was my physical symptom, was my hormonal imbalance, could I take that as a sign of something else out of balance? That is where I started. That was my question. That was my curiosity. And something pinged in my brain, and I naturally thought, okay, maybe my body is telling me something here. Maybe my body is speaking to me. So, if you are going through any health concern, any symptom, any pain, chronic acne, anything, I want to tell you right now, your body is speaking to you. So I took a look at my life, and the fact of the matter was I was chronically stressed. I was constantly rushing. I was pushing a ball uphill. I was forcing. I was so out of alignment, you guys. Like, oh my God, I can't even tell you how out of alignment I was. I was dating guys who were nothing but triggering, who couldn't show up for me emotionally. I was partying to the point of blackout, staying up late in the morning. I was just people pleasing my way through life. I was friends with like these big personalities and I kind of didn't feel like I had a voice. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. I didn't know how to open up. I didn't know how to express my feelings. I was working my ass off in fields that I didn't even enjoy just for money. I was leading with image and not myself. And most of all, most importantly, is I was not feeling my feelings. I was not processing my emotions. I was not turning up for my body. And I was living 100% in my head, in my mindset, I was living in anxiety, in chronic anxiety, and I was taking no time to process my feelings or be there for myself. And I started to go on this journey where I had to get into my body. And this is the root cause. That was the root cause of my acne, how I cured my acne, how I balanced my hormones. All those things are just tiny little symptomatic things that are covering up from a bigger root issue. Okay? And the problem with not processing your emotions, the problem with stuck emotions, stuck feelings, with a body and nervous system that hasn't been listened to your entire life, I want you to think about it like pipes. And it's like there's this grime or rust or old food clogging up the pipes, and it doesn't matter how much fresh water you turn on in that tap, it's going to get caught in the gunk. And so it doesn't matter all these things like the skincare, the facials, the treatments, even the supplements. If your body is storing unprocessed emotions, none of it will work. And I know this is like we're getting into a bit of like a nuanced conversation here, but that is truly my belief, is I had to start processing my emotions, feeling my feelings, clearing the chronic stress that I hadn't cleared ever in my life, ever. I had to slow down, I had to listen to my body, and I had to ask myself, why was my acne here? What was it trying to tell me? And when I started listening to my body, when I started listening to my acne, I found the cure. Okay? I found the cure. And that is the way to find the cure for anything in your life. Okay? Instead of searching externally, instead of going to anyone, anything, you need to ask yourself, you need to listen to yourself. And I want to get very clear, I'm not talking about sitting down and doing a meditation and thinking, okay, I'm going to listen to myself and doing it once. Nope, this is an ongoing journey and you need to show up for yourself every single day. And at the start, your body's not going to speak to you because it's not going to trust you. And then eventually you need to build, it's literally like a relationship. And when you start to understand this, these quotes of like, your greatest relationship is with yourself, start to make sense. Because the other thing I've really connected to is if I'm not showing up and feeling my feelings and understanding my feelings, there is no way that anyone else is going to be able to show up and be emotionally present with me, because life mirrors your internal world. So, oh my God, I'm like, so many thoughts, like I don't even know how to like fucking start speaking. Okay, so my body was flagging to me that I was not listening to it, not caring for it, and not processing my emotions, and I had to get into my body. So you're sitting here saying, how did you do that? I recorded a meditation. This would have been 5 years ago. I recorded it on GarageBand and I put it behind some cheap general meditation music. And in that meditation, I had many things, but the thing I asked myself is, what is my acne trying to tell me today? What is my acne trying to tell me today? And every day, my acne had a new message for me. One of the most profound messages my acne said to me is it said to me, I don't want to let you down. My skin was saying, I feel like I'm always letting you down. I'm grieving because I'm letting you down. And I just, oh my God, in that moment, I just wanted to give my skin and my acne and my body the biggest hug because I realized it felt so much hatred from me towards it. And I don't know about you, but every time you try and hate anything into transformation, it doesn't happen. You have to love something so much for just what it is, and then it blooms, right? But every day it had these different messages. And sometimes my acne would say things to me that were so unrelated to my skin, right? It would say to me, I don't like that friend. I don't want to spend time with them. I don't want to hang out with them. I don't feel good around them. And I hadn't even clicked that. I hadn't even processed that. I hadn't even realized or felt into, do I feel safe with this person? And sometimes my acne would say to me, like, I just want to go have fun. I just don't want this to be so serious for one night. I just want to go have a gin and tonic and have a drink. And then sometimes it would say to me, hey, I remember when I started taking DIM, it said to me, hey, that's a really good supplement for you to take. You should keep taking it. And that was the supplement that ended up changing my life. So that is how I started. I started by listening. And I know it seems so nuanced and you're like, okay, I'm just going to listen to my acne and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, dude, yes. So there's two parts. There's processing old stored emotions, and then there's listening to your body. And they're both kind of the same, but they're also kind of not. And you need to do both to clear your skin or to understand any chronic health condition. Because for me, my acne was the physical result of years and years and years of resentment, of grief, of anger, of unforgiveness, of pain, of insecurity. It was literally the physical manifestation of the sadness and anger that I hadn't felt in my life, that I had bottled up from every experience I'd had from when I was a baby, and it was just coming out on my face. And whenever I added to that fuel, whenever I pushed myself, stayed up late, said yes when I meant no, didn't have a boundary, got walked over, was burning myself out in jobs I hated, it got worse. It got worse and worse and worse. And there was a direct connection. When I started listening and paying attention, I could see a direct connection to, people say, oh, chronic stress causes conditions. The chronic stress is caused by chronic unprocessed emotions, the clog in the drain, the rust in the pipe that has never been cleared out. So the second you add anything, any pressure at all, the pipe just bursts. It explodes. And that's what my acne was for me. And the other thing is your body is flagging you. It's literally like a red flag. It's like your body going, hey, I am the one carrying you through this thing called life. And you are not listening to me. You're not paying attention to me. You're not spending time with me. You're not being with me. And this was such a moment of discovery for me, is that my body is trying to be my friend. It's not trying to be my enemy. And I had been shoving shit inside it, trying to shut it up, shoving Accutane, shoving contraceptive pills, anything I could and going, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. And even if that works in one area, like your skin might clear, I was having all these other health problems too. I was having like chronic fatigue and anxiety and gastritis and like shingles outbreaks and all these things. That was my body saying, hey, you're going to shut me up in one place, I'm going to fucking speak in another. Because that's what it can do. And when you start paying attention to it, you start understanding that these conditions, these symptoms, these things, from the acne to the IBS to the chronic fatigue, are red flags. They are red flags that you are ignoring the greatest conversation you should be having in your life, and that is with yourself. So how, just to recap, so that it, because I know this is nuanced. So for me, being in my body started predominantly with meditation. I remember that meditation was around 8 to 10 minutes a day. If you don't have that time, you can honestly do 3 minutes a day. I really recommend you an app called Insight Timer. I've talked about it a lot. You can just set a timer, a sound bowl for 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute. And during that time, I just encourage you to drop in and drop down and to just ask a curious question. Just ask a question to yourself like, what do you need today? What do you need? How do you feel? What's coming up for you today? And lean in. In that moment, it's not about manifestation and be your higher self and like be your best self and a lot of these things that people are talking about right now and I talk about. This is actually just about being present and saying to yourself, we don't need to fix this, we can just feel this. I'm not trying to fix you, I'm not trying to change you, I am just trying to be here with you. Anything that wants to come up can come up, and give yourself what you have never gotten. Give yourself the presence, give yourself the love, give yourself the compassion, give yourself the listening ear. Sometimes I literally wrap my arms around myself and I just hug myself. And you don't need to go anywhere with what comes up. And I'll share kind of a little example. Right before I got on this podcast, I did a 5-minute meditation and I said to myself, you know, how do you feel today? And my body said to me, I feel really on edge. I feel like I'm bracing for the next impact and I feel really disappointed. And I was moved to tears and I just sat there with myself and I just said, okay, I feel disappointed. And like, when you share your feelings from that point too, if you have someone you feel safe with, I think for myself, I often like act out and I act dramatic and I act cruel or gossipy, and what's behind it is just a truth. And I think when you're able to just share like, hey, I feel really disappointed today, it has so much more weight. People take it so much more seriously. People can lean in. But you also don't have to share this stuff. This is why processing and feeling your feelings and processing your emotions, you don't have to share it with anyone. You can just share it with yourself. And guys, this work is the greatest work that you could ever do. It is so liberating, you guys. It is so freeing. It is so... Your whole life will open up when you start doing this work. Trust me, trust me, trust me, trust me. This conversation is so much bigger than acne. Even if you don't have acne and you start doing this, this is the answer. This is what you're searching for. This is how you get to your dream life. This is how you manifest. This is how you meet the guy. This is how you create wealth. It is inside you. You have to go inward. There is no strategy, no path, no course, no nothing that'll beat this. This is your soul. This is your fucking like God. This is religion. Like, do you know what I mean? It is when you can listen to yourself, that is the truth. Okay? That is the truth. And for me, I will share like the other things that help me to listen to my body. Meditation, sound bowl healing. I've found that really transformational. To go to sound bowls and to play, I find sound healing, it's something I'm very passionate about. I would love to learn more about that. I really recommend you to go to a sound bowl healing. Workouts are another good thing to do. I wouldn't suggest you just do workouts, but working out helps me to feel my full body. Walks without music, journaling, all those things. But I mean, you know what? It's so not fancy. It's so not somewhat profound. But for me, just being still and being quiet and listening to myself and just asking a question and seeing what comes up, that is the greatest way I've achieved this, okay, in terms of listening to my body. Now, let's talk about processing stuck emotions. Remember, we've got these two conversations. So we've got listening to the body, and then we've got processing the gunk and the rust out of the pipes. Now, recently, I did a breathwork session with Jackie, Jackie, I hope I'm saying your last name right, I believe it's Siv. Light Leadership by Jackie. She's doing an event with me. We're doing an event together. Super excited, not this weekend, but next. And she's taking the models girls through a live breathwork session. Jackie reached out to me. She was like, girl, we need to do some breathwork. And I was lucky enough to receive an hour-and-a-half breathwork from Jackie. Guys, it changed my life. It absolutely changed my life. From the second I started doing it, my hands were cramping inwards. They were going numb. And Jackie said to me, like, let go of whatever you're holding on to that isn't yours to carry. I had one of the biggest emotional releases of my life. Like, sobbing from my chest, like my chest lifting off the ground, bawling. Then my whole jaw went numb and tingly. My back went numb and tingly. And Jackie was just leading me. She was like, go into it. And I basically had about 6 full emotional releases. I, at one point, was like hysterically laughing. I was sob crying. I was speaking out loud. Like Jackie was really like, I want you to give a voice to your feelings. And I was saying, fuck this. Like literally, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. I am not kidding. The next day I woke up, I felt like I was 7 again. I felt raw, like I absolutely felt raw, but the access I had to creativity was insane, you guys. Oh my God, I was tapped in, I was creating, ideas were flowing, I was with God, I was channeling, and I just started opening up and sharing. I just started like posting. I'm building my network on Models by Cass, which is like my wellness brand right now, my like spiritual soul brand. My numbers started improving on that Instagram. I started to have rapid ideas. I felt happier. I felt more joyous. I felt lighter. And I messaged her and I was like, oh my God, I'm so like joyous and creative. And Jackie said to me like, yeah, of course, you've just moved shit that hasn't been moved around for years. And I mean, this experience was only weeks ago for me. And if you are looking to do this at home and you can't access Jackie, one, you could find a breathwork practitioner around you, but I would recommend you Awaken. Awaken breathwork is what I use. I use the platform Awaken, and there's a journey by Lucas Mack called Feel Your Feelings. And within that journey, which is 30 minutes online, I had a similar emotional release to what I had with Jackie. So if you want to do this in the comfort of your home, this is not sponsored. I'm not involved with them. I'm just giving you access. Jackie is trained in Awaken Breathwork, so that's what she used on me if you're interested. So that is a good example of processing your feelings, okay? So there's listening to the body, listening to the message, and then there's processing the feeling. And that is going, now we're talking about trauma work. Now we're talking about fucking trauma work. And so everyone sitting here and going, oh my God, I thought we were talking about acne and now she's talking about crying on the floor doing breath work. Guess what? It's all connected. It's all freaking connected. And if you want another great resource for processing your trauma, Dr. Nicole Sachs. I recommend you Dr. Nicole Sachs. I recommend you her work, and I recommend you her book and learning about something called journal speak, which is another way to process emotions out of the body. So, to just let you know what life is like on the other side of this, I do sometimes get acne. It'll be a maximum of 1 or 2 pimples around my cycle. In periods of stress, my skin can flare. Compared to what my skin was, I would give my skin at its worst now a 1 out of 10. I use beautiful, so I see Mood by Bridget for my skincare treatments. I love Bridget. Well, sorry, actually she's Harlo Skin now. Harlo Skin, she's changed. Bridget has changed my life. She is one of the only estheticians and practitioners who understands the emotional connection to acne. The thing is, when you're processing your feelings and you're listening to your body, then you have the opportunity and the chance, your body has the ability to go get the treatments, go get the facials, go get the lasers, go use the skincare, take the supplements, and it's going to work, okay? So this conversation is a really big puzzle piece, and everything is important. Skincare is important, the treatments are important, your supplements are important, your diet is important, and listening to your body, understanding the root cause, processing your emotions, removing chronic stress, and doing the energetic work is so important. I would say it's probably 80% and the other stuff is 20%. So if you are focusing all your efforts on diet, supplements, skincare, facials, and you are not doing any energetic work for yourself, you are going to feel like you're getting nowhere, okay? And when you clear the pipes, when you clear the gunk, when you clear the rust, then all those things, the skincare, the supplements can move through them and it can work. Your body can receive. Because if you think about yourself as so locked up and so tightly wound and just like storing so much pain and hatred and anger, nothing good can work. Nothing good can land. It's your body's so tired it can't even process anything new to work. Okay? So, yes. Okay, so life on the other side. My skin is so manageable. It's honestly not even something that I really think of anymore. Like, it is. I get complimented on it all the time. Just yesterday, a woman came in, she said, you have the most beautiful skin. I have had followers walk past me and go, oh my God, your skin glows. Of course, it will always be a bit of an insecurity. Bridget worked so hard with me on my scarring that it's so much better. And I am totally confident to wake up next to my boyfriend with no makeup, to have dinner with him, no makeup, to go on a walk with no makeup, or go to the gym with no makeup. And my skin now we live in so much harmony. And when it flags up, when it gets stressed, I know why. I can listen to it. And sometimes I speak to it. Sometimes I say, hey, I know I'm stressed. Like, thank you so much for not breaking out right now. Thank you, because my body knows and it trusts me that I'm going to listen to it. So even when you have these moments of extreme stress, or I don't know, when your external world starts to break down, but you've mastered your internal world, you're able to keep unbelievable peace within yourself. Even when your whole world is crashing and burning, you're able to find stillness, you're able to listen to yourself, but most importantly, you're able to show up for what you need through everything. Like, my body knows now I'm gonna set boundaries. If someone doesn't treat me right, I'm going to walk away. I'm going to communicate if someone hurt me. I'm going to communicate if something's below my standards. I'm going to make sure I'm treating myself well. I'm going to make sure I'm not over-exercising. I'm going to make sure I'm taking supportive supplements and looking after myself. I'm going to make sure it can trust me now to show up. It can trust me to not put myself in harm's way. And of course, this work is not overnight. I know it's sort of frustrating because you hear this and you think, okay, I'm going to start meditating or doing breath work, or I'm going to listen to Dr. Nicole Sachs podcast, or I'm going to, work on the stuff and feel my feelings and show up for myself. And you're like, well, how long is this going to take? And the answer is the rest of your life. Doing this work, but it is so addictive when you start doing it. And the other thing I would tell you is you will see results so much faster than you think you will. Even if you do this for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, you will feel results. And the other thing is that through this map, just like my body did for me, you're going to start to hear what things you need to do. So your body's going to say to you, get this type of facial, take this type of supplement, and that's all going to help clear it up. And for reference, within 3 months of practicing this, my skin had probably cleared 80%. Within 6 months, it had cleared 90%. And then over the next year, I got my skin to a consistently good place. So it moves forward, okay? I know the first time you do this, you're going to sit there and feel like, oh my God, Cass, is this going to take fucking 10 years? But I think you're going to be really surprised too when you sit with yourself, actually feeling where you're at and actually feeling where your body's at. I know it really surprises me, and we live our life so in our minds in today's society. We are heavily, heavily caught in our minds, and it is just, I don't know, living in the mind, you'll know Sami said this is a quote from Sami Clarke. The mind is fast-paced, it is fear-driven, comes from a place of living in the future or the past and going, oh, what now? We're running out of time. And the messages from the body are slow and grounded and loving. And it's like a hug. And that is so true. If you feel like you're living in the first category, you are living from your mind. And the whole goal of life, I'm telling you right now, this is the goal. Guys, I found it. I found the fucking key. I found the key to everything. If you want to have better sex, honestly, if you want to have great orgasms, if you want to have a great relationship, if you want to have a present partner, clear skin, the life of your dreams, find your soul purpose, anything you want is about living in your body. Truly. It is the key. And it is single-handedly, one of the hardest things to do. And dear God, I am not here all the time. I wish I was, but I'm not. So this is the start of a big conversation. If you've listened to this, oh my gosh, I love you. Biggest hug to you. Let me know how this has landed. Let me know where your head's at. I hope I've put something interesting in your mind. What I'm going to do is on Instagram and below in this podcast description, I'm going to list you links of things about what I've spoken about, so that if you are a curious cat and you want to deep dive embodiment and listening to your body and listening to yourself and processing your feelings, I'm going to put everything there. I will also let you know, if you listen to this podcast by the 20th of July, I'm having a 20% off sale for my brand models that will come up automatically on anything I offer, from my books to my courses, including my 14-day glow up, where we go over boundaries and everything like that. So make sure that you enroll. Bye. See you next time.